What can you do if you reach the point in your research in which simply nothing makes sense? Like you have this bunch of data, bunch of results, everything is everywhere, and you cannot sort of find a connecting thread that would connect all of that into something in a thesis, in a paper that would eventually make sense. So if this is where you're at with your PhD, today's video is for you. I want to explain why this happens, what doesn't work, what strategies do work, and how you can apply it in your research. So first of all, how did you even come to that point? So from my experience, both as a PhD student and as a coach for PhD students, is that this happens because you are just moving forward without thinking how does your next step fit your narrative, your current narrative of your research. And this is something I think everyone is guilty of, because we have, during our PhD, we always experience that pressure of work needs to be done. You constantly need to chase the next thing, and your to-do list is quite never ending. So you're like, okay, I need to be doing a lot of work. And while doing that lot of work, what we often set aside is making sense of the work that we already have and finding how our next step is actually connecting to our previous steps and our previous results, research data, and so on. So this is something that I would always recommend to any PhD student, that the solution to that definitely isn't working harder, isn't working more, isn't putting in more hours, doing more experiments, because if you do not stop and make sense of the things that you already have, it's very hard to see how your next step is going to, how your next experiment, your next data, your next model is going to fit the narrative that you already have. And this is why the thing that actually works is to take a step back and make sense of the work that you already have and establish that narrative in the very, very early stages of your research. And if you are coming to an end, take a step back and do that. Structure it in a sort of an outline that makes sense for your thesis. Like try to find out which results are the ones that are actually going to make it to your paper or thesis, and which results are maybe going to the supplementary, or which results are going to are not supporting your hypothesis and are something that you are making some mistakes, or something that isn't quite relevant for your research project right now. So this is the most important step that you have to take, making sense of the research that you already have, because this is going to be the backbone for the next steps of your work. And when you have this done, the other thing that you have to do is to sort of project and make a very, very clear to-do list on the next step that you want to take with your research, whether that is doing experiments, collecting more data, or analyzing more data, doing a model, or whatever it is that you are doing with your research right now. So those are the steps and the strategies that are going to make sure that you are sort of moving in the right direction from that feeling of stuckness and being completely lost in your research, which, as I said before, is a very, very common place to be. And there are ways to solve it, because you just need to take a step back and structure it in a way that makes sense. This is exactly what I help PhD students do. So if you feel that you are lost in your research, if you feel that you have so many loose threads and you don't know how to connect it into a piece, a coherent piece that can make sense for your thesis or for your paper, I can help you with that. And I want to invite you to schedule a completely free intro coaching call with me. I will leave a link down below in the description where you can schedule it. And in that call, we can discuss exactly where you're at right now with your research. What are your current struggles, your current challenges, whether that is random data, scattered data, so many ideas, not knowing what is the actual next step that you have to take with your research. We are going to establish those tasks and actually make sure that you can follow them, make sure that you can move forward towards the finish line, whether on your own or with my support. So I hope that you found this video useful, and as always, see you in the next few days with another video. Bye bye.